Good afternoon, everybody. It's here. That's right. We have the final list of Seahawks cuts. It took about 2.5 hours longer than expected. The cuts have been known for some time now by the team, but they waited until just about 2 minutes ago to actually release the information. So, this video is going to focus on the guys who were waived, released, cut, however you want to put it. And we'll talk more about the guys who did make the team down the line. But this video is going to be focusing on the guys who are no longer here for the moment. Remember, over the next couple days, we're going to put together a practice squad. We're going to stick some guys on injured reserve for the short version, the short-term IR, and possibly bring some of these guys back to fill roster holes. So nothing is complete yet, but this is our initial 53-man roster being formed by the following releases. Shout out to Michael Sean Dugar with the tweet here. Several other people tweeted this as well, so this is pretty official, but let's take a look here. So this is going to include the stuff that I mentioned earlier today and the new stuff that just came out a couple minutes ago. So list of players who have been waived include, let's zoom in a little bit here, Holton Allers, quarterback, fully expected. He might make the practice squad. We'll see how we decide to play that. We already knew Levi Bell. Lance Boykin, cornerback, played a little bit in the preseason. Didn't stand out, but potential practice squad candidate. Greg Island, we already knew that one. Matthew Gotel, we knew that one. John Hall, knew that one. Cade Johnson, he didn't really stand out much in the preseason, unfortunately, so I didn't think he had much of a shot, and I don't know if we're going to give him another year on the practice squad. We have other guys who are younger, who have had less time to prove themselves, who we might decide we'd rather stick with than Cade, who's just kind of been treading water here for a couple years now. I don't know. I like Cade, but could be the end of the line for him, unfortunately, here in Seattle. Matt Landers, we knew that one. Tyler Mabry, we knew that one. Patrick O'Connell knew that one. Ty Okada knew that one. Roderick Perry, defensive lineman. He was a guy who actually made a couple plays against the Packers. And I think he had a little bit of a chance to squeeze in here because we had a need on the defensive line, but it was a long shot. So Roderick Perry does not catch on. Another practice squad candidate. Honestly, pretty much anybody who we release here is going to at least be a practice squad candidate, I think, anyway. But certain guys stand out. Kendall Randolph, we knew that one. Jacob Sykes is a new one, another defensive lineman who played pretty well in the preseason. Maybe well enough to get picked up on another team's 53-man. I don't know. But if we can get him on the practice squad, I got to believe we're going to be all over that because he did play well in the preseason and we have a need on the defensive line for some at least interesting depth. I'm not going to act like Jacob Sykes is a great player yet, but there's something intriguing there. Sir Roderick Thompson Jr., the running back, was also released. That's a new one. Great odds of making the practice squad with the way that he played in the preseason, and with Brian Koback supposedly being injured and not being able to be added to the practice squad. So I think Sir Roderick Thompson Jr., we're just sitting here hoping he makes it through waivers. If he makes it through waivers, I think we're good. We're going to bring him back, and there's a very good chance he plays at least a little bit this year because of the nature of the running back position in the NFL. Aesop Winston Jr., we knew that one, and then linebacker Christian Young, a guy who actually looked okay in coverage during the preseason, but never really had much of a chance of making the team. So those guys have been waived. We also terminated a couple guys as vested veterans, which basically means the same thing, but because they've been in the league for so long, they don't have to go through a waiver list. They can just go wherever they want to go, or they can just say, I don't want to go anywhere. I want to go back on my original team's practice squad, or I guess another team's practice squad. So it's just a matter of what the player gets to do now that they're free. So we have linebacker Ben Burkervin and center Joey Hunt on that list. So both of those guys could just say, I don't want to go anywhere else but Seattle. I'll hope to make their practice squad. They could go, I want to go to this team specifically. I'm bypassing waivers. I'm going to go where I want to go. I mean, both guys would very likely be very lucky to have any team truly interested in them. So I'm not saying they're going to turn down any offers, but they don't have to go through the waiver process. I don't really want either guy on my practice squad in particular. Like, Ben Burkervin seems to me that the injury just probably stole a lot of his speed and athleticism, and I don't know if it's ever coming back. It's a sad story, but I don't need a guy like that on my practice squad. I don't know what good that's doing anybody. And Joey Hunt is Joey Hunt, so I'm not super into that. So that's that. We also have a few more notes here, including one kind of tragic one. We already knew about Joey Blunt. He's been put on the waived/injured list. So again, if nobody picks him up, good chance he reverts to our IR and sits on our injured reserve list for the season. But joining him is linebacker Vi Jones. I always say V first and then I correct it to Vi, but Vi Jones has been put on the waived with an injury designation list. Yeah, the injury, which we knew could be serious, is serious. Serious enough to where I guess he's just going to miss this whole season. I liked Jones. I liked the development he was showing in camp. I was really excited to see him in preseason, and then he got hurt, and apparently it's enough to cost him his whole year. So this one hurts a little bit because I think he would have been our fourth linebacker. I think he would have provided depth behind Wagner, Bush, and Brooks. And now we're going to have to dig a little deeper to find that depth. It's going to have to be somebody like Radigan. And I imagine that's the guy. I think Radigan is probably the guy unless we decide to go pick somebody else up off waivers tomorrow. But Jones looks like he's going to miss the whole season. And also, this is new, Jonathan Sutherland added to the waived with an injury designation list. So if he slips through, probably going to bring him back and put him on IR because we like him. He played decently in the preseason, I think. Appealing special teamer. But I don't know when he got hurt, but he did. And apparently it's quite serious. So those two guys will not be playing as Seahawks this year. The good news is we get to kind of, if we want to, in all likelihood, keep them. I don't think anybody's going to be signing Jones off of waivers, even though he's looked pretty good this offseason when he was able to play. I don't see that happening. I don't think anybody's picking up Sutherland, so should have no issue keeping these guys, but we're going to have to wait another year for them to do anything. So that's the waived with an injury designation list, and we also have a couple of guys starting the season on the PUP list, meaning they cannot play for the first several games. Austin Faolu, nose tackle, and Brian Monet, nose tackle. Now, Faolu, he's a rookie. He was new. I don't think we were planning on using him in any significant role. Not expecting a ton out of Faolu, so that's whatever. But Monet, on the other hand, well, I don't really expect anything out of him either. He's not very good, but he was on a second contract. He did flash. He did have moments where he looked good. And we kind of needed him because of the nose tackle situation on this team right now. Fortunately, we don't see a few names here like Mike Morris. We don't see Cam Young. We don't see Derek Young. We don't see Cody Thompson. So that bodes well for those guys and their ability to come back pretty quickly here. We're going to have to see we're going to have to see if those guys get put on the short-term IR in the coming days. So definitely going to keep an eye on that, but that's it. So Allers, Bell, Boykin, Island, Gotel, Hall, Johnson, Landers, Mabry, O'Connell, Okada, Perry, Randolph, Sykes, Thompson Jr., Winston Jr., Young, Ben Burkervin, Joey Hunt, Joey Blunt, Jones, Sutherland, Faolu, and Monet. They are either out of here or going to be shelved for the moment. See you guys later. Go Hawks.